It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. And now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Nashville. This is the Tennessee bonus hour of the program. You can hear us live on radio, 760 AM WENO in Nashville, and 7:30 AM KQPN in Memphis. Also, you can hear us all across the John Fredericks, or the app, rather, from newstalk760.com. Just go to newstalk760.com, and we're good to go there. Most people listen to us on the app. You can also, there are a couple ways to also communicate with us. Number one, you can go to YouTube. Type in the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We're live every day on YouTube, also on Rumble. And but then if you want to communicate with me, go to X, or formerly Twitter. I'm there. I post all the time. Michael P. Leahy. Michael P. Leahy is where you can reach me. We'll be joined in this hour at 11:15 by our lead political reporter, Tom Pappert. And Tom and I will talk about a group that the Biden-Harris campaign wanted help from in releasing illegal immigrants into Tennessee. Claims that a Trump victory makes less sense. Yeah, I know. We're going to talk about the Turk here, Tennessee Immigrant Refugee Council Coalition. They've been around for a long time, and they're pretty awful leftists. And Tom Pappert will be joining us to talk a little bit about that. I do have a couple of national stories that I want to talk about right now. I'm going to start off with the battle for Senate Majority Leader and a couple of updates on that. First, I think where we are right now is it was basically 49 Republicans and 51 Democrats or Democrat-aligned independents. That was before the election. And remember now, the tiebreaker in the Senate is the vice president. So now we have it used to be Kamala Harris as the Democrat, as a tiebreaker, but now it's J.D. Vance. So even if it were 50-50, J.D. Vance would break the tie in a very good way. Okay, so let's go down through where all the Senate races stand right now. So number one, we have a victory in West Virginia. Big Jim Justice is replacing Joe Manchin. Manchin didn't run for re-election. So that gets you up to 50-50. Okay, so we got that change going on. Then you have in Ohio, a big win. Bernie Moreno wins. So that gets you up to 51. In Montana, Tim Sheehy wins. That gets you up to 52. That's a good win. That's a good win for Republicans. You're up to 52. Now, are there more? Yes, indeed, there are. In Pennsylvania, just called McCormick wins over Casey. But Casey, being such a bad sport, has not conceded. That gets you up to 53. Now, we barely missed. So we're at 53 right now, which is really, really good. We barely missed in Michigan by like 0.5%. We barely missed in Wisconsin by like 0.5%. And we barely missed in Nevada, 0.5%. But that leaves Arizona. Now, Arizona is the worst performing vote counting state in the country. Remember, Florida got all their votes counted in like 2 hours. Arizona still only has about 76% counted. And Kari Lake is behind now by only 43,000 votes. There are 900,000 votes to come. It is entirely possible that Kari Lake wins that Senate seat. If that's the case, that would get you up to 54. That's pretty good, 54-46. Now, the question then becomes, who becomes the Senate Majority Leader? Who is that person? Mitch McConnell. Let's give Mitch McConnell his due. We have to thank Mitch McConnell for getting rid of Merrick Garland as a potential Supreme Court nominee. And if Merrick Garland had been on the Supreme Court, it would have been a disaster. But Mitch McConnell stopped that. Very well done, Mitch. But besides that, he's not done much. And he's been anti-Trump. And he's also been anti and against America First Republican Senate candidates. So, as an example, he spent, I think, about like $20 million on Larry Hogan in Maryland, who didn't have a chance. And he didn't spend a dime on Sam Brown, who lost by half a point in Nevada, by Eric Hovde, who lost by half a point in Wisconsin, or Mike Rogers, who lost by half a point in Michigan, or Carrie Lake, who's now behind by about half a point in Arizona. She may pull it out. But in any event, it's a big win in the Senate. The Senate majority will be Republican, at least for the next 2 years. Who's going to be the Senate Majority Leader? Well, there are three candidates, and let's kind of look at them. John Cornyn from Texas, John Thune from South Dakota, and Rick Scott from Florida. Only one of those guys is America First, and that's Rick Scott from Florida. John Cornyn, rhino-y, George W. Bushy kind of guy, been very critical of Donald Trump, critical of the border policies of Donald Trump, critical of Trump on this whole, January 6th thing as well. And then John Thune trashed Trump, trashed him. And the question is, which of those three is going to win? And I'll tell you, Rick Scott's not messing around. Rick Scott, and he had a mixed record, as we know here in Tennessee, because he took HCA, called it Columbia HCA, moved headquarters for a while to Louisville a long time ago. Got into trouble with the Obama administration, and he made a lot of money, but they basically said, good luck, and go do something else. And HCA now is back here in Nashville, which is where it should be, and doing great, by the way. But he got a lot of money, and he, was governor of Florida, and got reelected pretty handily this time to the Senate in Florida. And he's come out guns a-blazing. I'm America First. I want to be the Senate Majority Leader. Now, the question is, should Donald Trump get involved in persuading senators to vote for his guy there? Well, traditionally, of course, the Senate is a separate part of the legislative branch. I get that. But in this case, you don't need any more Mitch McConnell-style subversion of the Trump agenda. And that's exactly what you get if John Thune is the Senate Majority Leader. That's exactly what you get if John Cornyn from Texas is the Senate Majority Leader. You're not going to get that at all if that's what from Rick Scott. So I'm going to say the following. For all those senators that are saying, don't get involved, Mr. President, don't try to persuade anybody, hit the road, guys. Look, it's a brave new world. It's a golden age. Do you want to be part of that golden age and be on the America First agenda, or do you want to be obstructionist? So I say, President-elect Trump, go on in, intervene in that Senate race, and get Rick Scott in as a majority leader. There you go. When we come back, Tom Pappert, our lead reporter, is going to join us and give us the details about the Tennessee Immigrant Refugee Coalition here in Nashville and all the trouble they're kind of trying to cause Donald Trump. Back after this with Tom Pappert.
John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just one scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, TIREGET.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Hi folks, John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
This is Michael Patrick Leahy. I want to say a word about my good friend Dustin Damon. Dustin is the best handyman in Middle Tennessee. Call Dustin today at 724-683-4400. That's 724-683-4400 if you have a job around the house that you just haven't gotten around to. If you're busy like me, you just may not have the time to fix that broken mailbox, repair the back porch, or get that old light fixture back to working properly. Do what I did. Call Dustin Damon today at 724-683-4400, and he will bring his truck and tools to your house and get that job done lickety-split. Dustin's main service area is Williamson County and the southern part of Davidson County. So call Dustin Damon, the best handyman in Middle Tennessee today, at 724-683-4400. Tell him you heard about him on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are joined on our Zoom Newsmaker line right now by our great reporter based in the Tennessee Star flagship title, Tom Pappert. Welcome, Tom.
And happy golden age to you.
Happy golden age. You know, Tom, before we get into our story about the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Resettlement Coalition, you know, you've been at this for a long time as well. Did you ever think that we would be 3 days into the golden age and Donald Trump would have an electoral and popular vote landslide, and we'd control the Senate and likely control the House?
You know, Michael, I'm shocked at that we have a trifecta. I am pleasantly surprised. I made a private prediction that it would be 312 electoral college votes and that Trump would win, but I dared not say that in public because it seemed as though it would jinx it. But no, it seems as though we finally hit the crescendo of America again. It seems as though we're finally completing a story that began all the way back in 2015 when one man decided to challenge the entire establishment and was punished severely for it, only to come back with a vengeance. Now, if you had told me 2 years ago even that this is where we would be today, I might have laughed in your face.
And all the things came together. You put it all together. The unified, look at all the people that came to him. Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Joe Rogan. You know, it just all kind of came together. Now, let's go to some local stuff here in Tennessee. We've been doing the Tennessee Star now for, 7.5 years? And it'll be our 8th anniversary of the Tennessee Star will be in February, not too far away, so more than 7.5 years. From the very beginning, we've been reporting here in Metro Nashville-Davidson County about this far-left group, the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Resettlement Coalition, or TIRC. They're not happy at the beginning of the golden age here. Tell us about your lead story.
So yes, Turk is not happy about the golden age. They, in fact, are vowing to undermine President Trump. They say that the victory will actually make America less safe. This statement, by the way, comes on the heels of a release from Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti, which we've reported extensively at the Tennessee Star, and it shows that Turk was a key part, in fact, the seemingly only non-governmental organization that was willing to partner with the Biden-Harris administration to release tens of thousands of illegal immigrants in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, and they've been, trouble on the left for the very beginning. They've tried for so long to turn Tennessee to the left. And the idea was to come from their base here in Metro Nashville-Davidson County and then spring outward from that. But what's happened here is they've reached a high end in Metro Nashville-Davidson County and in Shelby County, only two of the 95 counties in Tennessee who went for Biden-Harris. And they're typical. They were the state for Biden-Harris, for Senator Blackburn, I think went like 65-35 statewide. But in these two blue bastions of Metro Nashville-Davidson County and Shelby County, it's been exactly the opposite. 65% for Harris and 35% for Trump. And of course the mayor's transit plan passed same way, 65-35 in Davidson County. But they've not had much success. In fact, they've failed expanding their leftist plans beyond these two urban areas. And I think that's a very, very good sign. They say, and I guess they put this tweet out. It's in your story, a lead story at TennesseeStar.com. The headline being, Group Biden-Harris wanted to help release illegal immigrants into Tennessee, claims Trump victory makes America left safe. They've put a tweet out. We know the next 4 years will challenge us, but they will not break us. Well, we don't want no illegal aliens in Tennessee. And I think it's going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out. The Trump administration, and I'll get your kind of reaction to this. The Trump administration has made it clear that on day one, they are going to start mass deportations, particularly starting with criminals, the Trent de Aragua criminals from Venezuela. And there, you reported there are a lot of them here in Middle Tennessee. Do we expect a lack of cooperation in Davidson County of the sort that, the governor of Massachusetts, you saw this, Governor Healy? Well, we're not going to comply with the efforts to remove illegal alien criminals from Massachusetts. I think she forgot something called the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution. And then out in California, right, you got Gavin Newsom. We're going to call a special session to fight back. And then the Attorney General of New York State, Letitia James, Big Tish, right? We're not going to let them do anything to us. Well, they haven't done anything yet. They're not in office yet. What are they threatening? What is Turk threatening to do here in Metro Nashville, Davidson County? And what influence will they have on city government policies and the sheriff's and Metro Nashville Police Department?
Well, it's very interesting, Michael. This is very different from 2016 because President Trump was elected with a mandate. He had the overwhelming popular vote, and he won an electoral vote landslide. And beyond that, we know that mass deportation is actually a popular policy. Things have gotten bad enough in this country that people want it. There was a poll in May, I believe it was, that showed 51% of Americans now support mass deportation, including 4 in 10 Democrats. And then in September, more polling came out. The number rose to 54% of Americans support mass deportation. So I think part of the issue that Turk is going to have is they're not going to get a lot of cooperation in the state of Tennessee, probably from the city of Nashville. And I think the reason for that is we saw it with the 2022 lawsuit that Attorney General Skermetti just won recently, where Turk essentially narked out the Biden administration to Governor Bill Leahy, who then directed the Attorney General to start a lawsuit and made a big deal about it. I think we're going to see that on steroids, and we're going to see it in other parts of the country. But Turk is a group that receives annually millions of dollars, including between $800,000 and $1 million from government sources. This could be federal, state, local. They don't really specify. So they have coffers, and they say as part of their tweet where they say that Trump will make America less safe, quote, "We've been building power and preparing for this moment for more than 20 years, and our members are ready to organize." So I think what it comes down to is you're going to see a lot of these NGOs and nonprofits activating their people and possibly even organizing action in the streets to try to create the impression that Trump's policies are less popular than they are.
Yeah, and let me just elaborate on that. This is from from Wednesday. They put this out. Tennessee Turk put this out on their Twitter feed, and I'll elaborate on what you just started. They said, quote, "We've been building power and preparing for this moment for more than 20 years, and our members are ready to organize their families, defend their rights, and challenge these dangerous policies at every step." P.S. These are policies like ending birthright citizenship, ending and deporting illegal aliens, starting with the criminals. Those are actually good policies that have been endorsed by a landslide of American voters on Tuesday. And they've also said, we're ready to dig deep, fight back, and use every tool in our toolbox to make sure that Tennessee's immigrant and refugee community has the freedom to thrive and live. That sounds a little bit like a threat to me. But
well, it does, because typically when conservatives are out of power, what do? We saw Stephen Miller, as an example, create America First Legal, and it was always a legal threat.
It was always a legal
to
threat,
protect the rights. This is not a legal threat, at least to my ears. Maybe they meant it that way.
Tom, we're going to do something unusual here. I want to hold you over for the next segment, and I want to talk about, ready, whiny Bob Casey in Pennsylvania. He's lost, and he's not admitting it. Tom, stick around, and we'll be back right after these messages. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. 724-683-4400 if you have a job around the house that you just haven't gotten around to. If you're busy like me, you just may not have the time to fix that broken mailbox, repair the back porch, or get that old light fixture back to working properly. Do what I did. Call Dustin Damon today at 724-683-4400, and he will bring his truck and tools to your house and get that job done lickety-split. Dustin's main service area is Williamson County and the southern part of Davidson County. So call Dustin Damon, the best handyman in Middle Tennessee today, at 724-683-4400. Tell him you heard about him on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it. Believe me. Impersonator
Michael
not endorsed.
Patrick Leahy.
When you look at Kamala Harris, you have to think of her in the context of an upgrade from Joe Biden. As a campaigner, Kamala Harris represents a greater threat to Donald Trump than does Joe Biden.
The Michael Patrick Leahy Show on the John Fredericks Media Network. Weekday mornings, 10 Eastern, 9 Central. You better listen.
I don't think anyone should take this threat lightly. Mutts Cuts Grooming. This summer, never leave pets in vehicles while running errands. Even with windows cracked, 80 degrees can shoot up to 120 degrees, causing heat stroke, dehydration, and even death. So keep pets hydrated, shaded in cool areas, or just leave them at home. That's from Kathy, Candy, and the staff at Mutts Cuts Grooming, the people with warm hearts for those with cold noses. For your pet's grooming needs, call 931-645-9220. That's 931-645-9220 for Mutts Cuts Grooming in Clarksville, Tennessee at 1479 Tiny Town Road.
Hey there, this is Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of The Glock Store. As a proud sponsor of this show, you may have heard Michael Patrick Leahy mention us a few times over the past 4 years. But today, it's me on the radio telling you how pleased we are to be associated with Michael Patrick Leahy and his dedication to the highest levels of professional journalism. Michael Patrick Leahy has been threatened with jail time in bringing the true facts about that Nashville Covenant shooting to his listening audience. Michael Patrick Leahy, you keep doing what you're doing, and we here at the Glock Store will keep sponsoring your show for the good of Nashville and the entire country. And I'm personally inviting all of your listeners to come visit and shoot at the Glock Store. It's where Michael Patrick Leahy learned to shoot a gun for the first time and where he bought his own personal Glock 19. I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store here in Nashville, just minutes from the airports, worth the drive from anywhere, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And we are joined again on our Zoom Newsmaker line by our lead political reporter, Tom Pappert. Tom, I'm looking at the results here in Pennsylvania. And in Pennsylvania, they've called the election. The Associated Press has called the election for the Republican, Dave McCormick. I'm looking at the results. 98.4% reporting. McCormick has 49% of the vote. The incumbent, Bob Casey, Democrat, has 48.5%. They're separated by 34,000 votes. AP has called it for McCormick. Politico has called it for McCormick. But Casey is not conceding. It sounds like a sore loser to me. What are your thoughts about this, Tom?
Well, it does sound like a sore loser. I mean, I'll just read a little bit from his statement here. He says, I have dedicated my life to making sure Pennsylvania's voices are heard, dot, dot, dot. It has been made clear there are more than 100,000 votes still to be counted. Pennsylvania is where our democratic process is born. We must allow that process to play out and ensure that every vote is eligible to be counted, will be counted. That is what Pennsylvania deserves. Oh, meanwhile, Bob Casey is not acknowledging the fact that most of these outstanding votes, or at least many of them, are in Cambria County, which has broken Republican since 2020, and now it is extremely Republican, and that is the same county where the machines mysteriously went down on Election Day, and they had to extend voting hours 2 hours. So there's all kinds of provisional ballots and issues with a delayed count in that county, but it's not going to be a massive swing of Democratic votes. It's not going to be if there's 100,000 votes, it's not going to be 85,000 Bob Casey. And if anything, it might be the exact opposite.
So lead,
I think,
yeah, Dave McCormick's lead, the Republicans' lead, is likely to increase there in Pennsylvania, right?
exactly. And so I think that Bob Casey is suffering from an inability to accept reality. He's been in government virtually his entire life, and before that, his father had his seat. So at this point, I just hope Bob Casey is not considering marching peacefully and patriotically to the Capitol to make his voice heard.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, if the Associated Press, I mean, they're leftists. The Associated Press is so bad. How bad are they, you might ask? They're so bad. We had a deal with them to basically, rerun their stories. And then right after the 2022 midterms, and when Trump announced he's running again, they were so biased in their reporting, we just had to cancel our contract with them. They got upset about that. Well, you got a 1-year contract. And we said, well, the problem with that 1-year contract, my friends, is it was based on the idea that we could use your stuff. We can't use it because it's so biased. Anyways, we ended up, settling with them, and we paid them. We paid the full amount of the contract, but we were not happy about it just because they didn't deliver what they said they would. But
It's a bit of a bait and switch. I mean, I'm not speaking on behalf of you, but they were offering you news, and then they switched it to propaganda.
Well, I suppose you could say, well, AP has been propaganda for a long time. He just finally admitted it. But here's the point on this. Even AP, which hates Donald Trump, has called that race for Dave McCormick. So, I think every day that this continues, it's worse and worse for Bob Casey. He looks like a spoiled brat, entitled son, fortunate son, if you will, of his father, the former big political person there. It seems kind of crazy for me. Now, so that one's going to be a Republican. That puts him up to 53-47. Now, Arizona, where Kerry Lake now has been steadily climbing on the 43,000. It's a 43,000 vote lead. Now, Arizona is smaller than Pennsylvania, but still, unlike Pennsylvania, where there's 98.4% already reporting, and those that are going to be reporting are from Republican-friendly areas. In Arizona, only 76% have reported, and there's 900,000 votes to count. She's down 43,000. I mean, you don't have to have a really big margin of victory in the remaining tallies. And there are a couple things going on in Arizona. Number one, most of those that haven't reported are in sort of Republican areas traditionally. And Maricopa County, it's weird. You've been reporting on this as well. There are 12 counties in Arizona. Maricopa County has 60% of the population of the state, and yet just one operating entity. Steve Richard, who's the recorder who's responsible for all the votes there, was so bad that he lost his primary. He's a lame duck guy. They're still saying it's going to take days and days to report. What's your thought on Stephen Richer and the failure of Arizona to get results in?
I think there's two problems going on in Arizona. One is it is a fundamentally, and I'm sorry, Arizonans, I love you guys, but I have to be honest, it is a fundamentally lousy election system that they have in that state, and they're following the law this year, it seems, for the most part. But it's a fundamentally lousy system that results in days or weeks to count elections, and it has in every election that I've followed in my entire adult life. And it's really something that I think they have an opportunity to fix, or at least make some steps as into the next legislative session toward resolving. But the other problem in Arizona, specific to Maricopa County, is, in my personal opinion, Stephen Richer is just incompetent. That's the person you were talking about, was just primaried out of office. But during that primary, Stephen Richer was so useful to the Democrats that they were coming to his events. He had Democrats essentially campaigning for him while he's running as a Republican candidate. It was utterly bizarre. And now, as he's still in office, from my understanding, until January, he has shut down his personal Twitter account that he would use to admonish conservatives about how his elections are actually the best in the country, which is just fueling more speculation. So I think there is a very decent chance that Kari Lake could actually manage to pull this rabbit out of a hat, but I would not be surprised if when they finally count all the votes, they found enough to make Ruben Gallego more popular than Kamala Harris in the state of Arizona, and enough to make him the winner. But I think this has to be the reason. This has to be the year that Arizonans look at themselves and say, bipartisan, in a bipartisan nature, we're not going to be the national embarrassment anymore. We're going to change our election system. I really hope this is going to be
It's a little bit like the hanging chads in Florida from 2000. Remember? That was, there were so many delays there. The counting system was awful. And Florida looked at that, and they were embarrassed nationally. And they said, we're going to fix this. And boy, did they. 2 hours to report all the results. And meanwhile, here we are, on day 3, and don't have Arizona. I just did the numbers here a little bit. She's down by 43,000 votes. There are 900,000 outstanding. If she just wins like 53% to 47% of the outstanding votes, she makes that up. If she wins 55-45, she wins by like 40,000 votes. I still think it's possible there. Plus, they're doing an odd thing. There's a ballot curing element of this in Maricopa County going on. Are you familiar with that? And can you explain it?
Well, I'm only somewhat familiar with it, but I do know that for whatever reason, they're having to cure, as always in Maricopa County and as always in Arizona, an obscene number of ballots. And I know that there is some question as to who is doing the curing. So the Lake campaign has noted that virtually anybody can volunteer to do this and become an observer to the curing process. And she is calling her supporters, not just in Arizona, but across the country, to observe this in the name of election integrity. And this is one of the many things that I think, again, Arizona really has to do what Florida did. Florida, we went from almost starting a civil war 24 years ago to having the state called within 2 minutes of polls closing.
Yeah, so I think right now it's definitely 53, maybe 54. If I had to bet right now, my bet would be, I think there's a 60% probability that Kari Lake pulls it out. That's just my best guess at the moment. But I think it'll take another week before we determine that. Let's turn our attention now to, and I talked about this earlier in this hour, Tom, let's turn our attention now to the battle for the Senate Majority Leader. Lay out the contenders, and why don't you handicap what you think is going to happen there?
Well, Michael, I haven't been following this as closely as you, in complete honesty. However, I do think that Rick Scott is clearly the grassroots favorite to win right now. And I think the issue is going to be in making him the grassroots favorite to actually get the job this time around, is going to be convincing former President Trump, or I'm sorry, got to get out of that President-elect Donald Trump.
Oh, by the way, let me just stop for a moment. President-elect Donald Trump. Oh, my goodness, Tom. How good does that feel to say?
I never thought we'd be able to say it again. Really, who could have seen that one coming? But it's going to be very fun until January 20th.
It's going to be real fun. So, yeah, the issue is...
The issue is we've got to convince President-elect Trump that this is a matter that is worth his time, because there are other more establishment members of the Senate that I think have expressed a willingness to work with President Trump. These would be the John Cornyn's of the world, and they, I am convinced, would be much better than Mitch McConnell, who has been just the worst we've ever had.
Yeah, beyond the worst.
But I think we have an opportunity
let's give him
to get
his
someone
due.
great.
He stopped Merrick Garland from getting on the Supreme Court. And that's a very significant accomplishment. So thank you for that, Mitch McConnell. Don't let the door hit you on the backside on your way out. Right?
I like that. That's a great thing to say. We'll remember him for that and nothing else.
Hey, very good. Hey, Tom Pappert, thank you so much for joining us, and appreciate all your excellent insights here.
Thank you, Michael. Happy to be here.
All right. That's the great Tom Pappert. And, you know, Tom has been all over this for some time, and a really great reporter. Just a reminder, you can see all of his reporting at Tennessee Star, TennesseeStar.com, TennesseeStar.com. We are, as I mentioned earlier, and we're going to do some celebration. I think we'll do a little party here in Nashville. February 7th, 2025 will be the 8th anniversary of the Tennessee Star. How about that? 8 years. And there were times when the throttling from Facebook and Google was so much that we were really concerned about our ability to get the message out on social media. But that all changed when Elon Musk bought Twitter and turned it into X 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. I'm telling you, it is the power of X that's going to lead the way into the continued destruction of the propagandist left-wing media. Hey, we'll have more when we get back. It'll be time for News Potpourri. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
CEO of Solti, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Solti, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Solti has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Solti for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Solti and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Solti, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Solti
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Nashville. Well, folks, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri. I love that schmaltzy music. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, News Potpourri. This is the portion of the program where we talk about those stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and have a touch of irony. Well, I don't know if this is irony exactly. There's a report from News Nation that from Santa Teresa, New Mexico, that as of this morning, immigrants are running across the border into New Mexico. And of course, New Mexico as a state is probably, New Mexico, Arizona, California, they're the weakest in terms of stopping illegal immigrants. Texas has been leading the way in stopping immigrants. And it's not just there. We also have a game of chicken, I suppose, going on. Todd Bensman has talked about this quite a bit. Basically, before the election, Todd Bensman, by the way, the senior fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies, before the election, for a couple months, the Biden administration said, we want to cut down the number of illegals crossing the border where people can see them, and Mexico, round them up and keep them in southern Mexico, and then we'll let them cross the border like after the election. Well, they didn't think that Donald Trump would win. He's won. But now we've got how many days do we have? I think we're down to 73 days until January 20th, when at noon, Donald Trump becomes president, and then he has the authority. Right now, this interregnum is very awkward because we only have one president at a time, and Joe Biden is the president right now. Legal but not legitimate, as we've said now for 5 years. And pretty much they're going to do the same thing. They're going to let them in and just, send them all around the country. So we got 75 days. They're going to be pushing to get into the border. It could be 400,000, 500,000 people. We'll see how all that plays out. Now, we also have a couple of interesting stories about the reaction that we've got from the reaction going on right now in terms of younger people. Younger people actually came out in pretty big numbers supporting Donald Trump. There's a couple clips that talk about Beverly Hills High School in Beverly Hills, California. As soon as they found out Donald Trump won, they had this great big, huge demonstration in support of him. And then also at Auburn University in Alabama, when they learned that Trump won, they all went to part on campus that's well known, and they sang the Star Spangled Banner. Love that. Here's a story, very interesting, from the Washington Times. FBI leaders are stunned and shell-shocked at the brass at FBI at Donald Trump's victory, and the director, Christopher Wray, will likely resign. My message for FBI Director Wray, same message I had for Mitch McConnell. Don't let the door hit you on the backside on your way out. Okay. Some Supreme Court news. The Democrats, this ain't going to work, folks. But the Democrats, they want to remove Sonia Sotomayor from the Supreme Court immediately. Think about this. If she were to resign right now, why do they want to do this? Well, because she's 70 years old, and she's not in that great health. I think she's maybe a little older than 70, 72, something like that. And she's hinted for some time at the possibility of retiring. Well, okay. Yeah, I don't know how this wouldn't work, but this is how desperate they are. Why are they doing this? Why do they want to have her removed immediately? Well, because January 20th, if she were to resign after January 20th, you would end up with President Trump replacing her. Actually, gosh, what a great idea. We get rid of that liberal Sotomayor and replace her with, a strong conservative. I think that would be just absolutely, totally fantastic. The logistics of this, I don't think would work. First, the Supreme Court is currently in session, right? And so the tradition is, if you're going to retire, you typically announce it in May or June. And then you retire, and then there's a whole period of time for the hearing so that you can get basically, somebody else in. And the idea in time for the October 1st, the first Monday in October is when the Supreme Court meets. Okay, look at the numbers here. It's just not. How does she resign now, right? And then how do you get legitimate hearings? How do you name somebody? Like Biden would have to name somebody today or the day she resigns, and then you have to hold hearings. But they're not even in session for a while. Now, would Chuck Schumer try and push that through? He might, but that would be very disruptive. I don't think they're going to do that. Hey, here's a couple other things. Elon Musk he's got another prediction. You ready? Justin Trudeau is going to fall and lose the prime ministership in Canada. Please, let's get that going as soon as we possibly can. Here's another story. Fascinating. Drudge Report. Drudge has disappeared. I don't know where the guy is. There is something called the Drudge Report. It's run by some regime media lackey somewhere. Donald Trump has not appeared in a single headline for the past 36 hours. Really? Why do you think that is? The only thing that's doing is just confirming that the regime media is gone. They're not relevant anymore. And on that happy note, we're going to close out day 3 of the golden age of America, 3 days after the election of Donald Trump, president-elect. I'll be back on Monday. I hope you have a great weekend. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. Thanks so much for joining us. This is Michael Patrick Leahy. I want to say a word about my good friend Dustin Damon. Dustin is the best handyman in Middle Tennessee. Call Dustin today at 724-683-4400. That's 724-683-4400 if you have a job around the house that you just haven't gotten around to. If you're busy like me, you just may not have the time to fix that broken mailbox, repair the back porch, or get that old light fixture back to working properly. Do what I did. Call Dustin Damon today at 724-683-4400, and he will bring his truck and tools to your house and get that job done lickety-split. Dustin's main service area is Williamson County and the southern part of Davidson County. So call Dustin Damon, the best handyman in Middle Tennessee today, at 724-683-4400. Tell them you heard about them on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. The Chief Team reminds listeners here that more and more veterans will be returning home over the next few years, and many are local. These heroes have elite military training and valuable professional skills, but they also need jobs too. That's why the Chief Team is encouraging all local businesses. Let's make it the year we hire smart and hire veterans. That's from the Chief Team, where they say service isn't just a courtesy, it's a commitment. For more information, call 931-444-3572. That's 931-444-3572 for the Chief Team in Clarksville.
The Black preaching tradition is deeply connected to gospel music.
PBS presents a new series hosted by Henry Louis Gates Jr., Gospel.
Our singers preach and our preachers sing.
Gospel is a prayer. It is our heart's cry to God in lyrics and song.
You feel it deep down in your soul.
Gospel. Streaming now on the PBS app.